Yep. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Whimper podcast. I have Rodrigo Santiago here, and he is a co-chair at IIAS, a senior scientist at University of the People. He has done his masters of quantum mechanics at MIT and masters in science of space studies at the Military American University. Welcome, Rodrigo. Welcome to the Whimper podcast.
Thank you, Divya. How you doing? Good?
Yep, I'm fine, thank you. So should we start off with the questions, or would you like to add something?
No, we can start with the questions. Let's start with some
Okay,
shots here.
okay then. My first question would be, how will suborbital space flights impact the geopolitical landscape and global power dynamics?
Well, suborbital flights, they are the health way to go to space. So it's an environment we can use for research, space flight research. We can train astronauts. We can train scientists to research this layer because it's very unknown. This layer, mesosphere, this part of the mesosphere and thermosphere, it's a layer we don't know too much. So the space flights, suborbital space flights, they can enrich the knowledge about these layers. And the space tourism, it's part of all of this big deal about space exploration. And we are seeing so many companies and so many spacecrafts to go to this layer of the Earth, and we can use all of this in our favor because the space tourism is gonna show us how fragile it's Earth, how fragile it's the human life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we need to know that. We need to have people there, to check this and see. My gosh, it's a thin layer of life.
Yep.
Earth, it's totally done with a thin layer of life that
Mm-hmm.
contain life,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no other planet we know that contain life. So we need to preserve this planet right here.
Right. And what do you think about the idea that's been booming these days, right? Because of SpaceX, Elon Musk, that we should have a planet B.
A plan B. So I never thought about a plan B, even because I don't have resource to think
Yeah.
about the plan B.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we have we have we have to go to Moon. We need to do assessments there. Moon, Mars, Titan. We need to explore all these planets, all these celestial bodies, because we need to spread humanity to other place. We
Right.
need to do that just to preserve humanity and
Mm-hmm.
to preserve our every kind of life.
Right. And so, have you thought about like which planet is going to be like, have you done the research on this in some way or possible? Like, which should be the most appropriate planet in the entire solar system for us? Like, if Mars is, I guess Mars is like, because of SpaceX and Elon Musk, it has gained that sort of trend in the space industry and sector. Though I have seen a lot of people talk about Titan, certainly, that it could be one of the
Yeah,
potential places that we should go to instead of Mars because of the radioactive atmosphere that Mars has and the amount of, you can say, the atmospheric pressure that Mars has. So that doesn't just support life. We have to just live
yeah.
in chambers. So yeah,
The
I would like to know your
the
perspective
the
on that.
Titan moon, there are a lot of hydrocarbonate. So it's what contain life. It's the beginning of life. It's the material, the raw material, for life.
Mm-hmm.
And there are pressure, like you say, it's possible we can search and find life there when you send a mission to Titan.
Mm.
It's not impossible, given the all the conditions we have there. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I think Titan it's one, but in the next 30 years we need to aim Moon and Mars
Mm-hmm.
because it's a short way inside the solar system, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
we have more data about Moon and Mars than any other planet. So
Yeah.
it takes a long time to study, to send probes, to gathering data,
Mm-hmm.
to have information, you know, to send a mission to other planets. So Moon and Mars are aiming to every accomplishment. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
every mission
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they are sending. And
Right.
about SpaceX, Elon Musk. Elon Musk, he's a visionary. In my opinion, he's a visionary. You know, he's focused in what he wants to do, and most of the people they don't know the idea was born in Brazil, SpaceX, in Florianópolis, in an island in in Brazil, in South
Oh.
Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
in a meeting in 2000, I was working in Florianópolis, the city,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew about someone wanting to start to apply money, you know, and to invest money in a company to produce rockets, to buy a rocket from Russia,
Mm-hmm.
and and all of this stuff. And they start the sketch of the scratch of the this plan, you know, there in Brazil. And we see SpaceX like someone that don't have anyone to contest. Everything they are doing very well, you know, and they are being successful. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
company.
Mm-hmm.
It's a company we need to look very carefully. You know, we need to have we need to follow what they are doing because they are doing very well
Yeah.
in a good way. In a
Yeah.
good way.
Mm-hmm.
It's complicated to talk about all the other players because we don't see the results, so we can't compare.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do any comparison about what they are better, what they are worse, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
the space race, it's again here, you know, we have China, a new player that they have all the resource, you know, they have all the technology to go and be the first, maybe first on the moon if they want to, you know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're gonna surprise us
Right.
because what we see all the space race, we see China. Everyone around the world buy products from China, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
50% of everything it's sold goes to Chinese government. So they have a huge budget to to apply for military and flights, space programs. So it's a new player too. India, it's a new player too. It's
Mm-hmm.
a you know they have all the brightest minds. I know a lot of aerospace engineers in India. They are very good, very capable to create amazing things, and we see them, but they need budget.
Yeah.
So every part of the world they have good players. They have good players. They have brightest mind, but
Mm-hmm.
it depends of money.
Mm-hmm.
In all, it's gonna be this
I
and
see.
national security too.
Right. Um, how do you think Japan has developed in the aerospace sector? Because Japan is considered to be this very robotic and technologically advanced society, even though it is not generally capitalistic in its own sense of working.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you see a table nowadays
Mm-hmm.
about the advance AI, robotics, space medicine, regenerative medicine, you're going to see the three first players are China, United States, and South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Japan and Germany is they are more like 450 on this scenario, nowadays. So you bet. I don't know the space program for Japan. It's very limited. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, because they couldn't produce missiles. They have the agreement after the Second World War II, so they have agreements. They couldn't produce rockets, missiles, and now they're starting to produce all of this. You know, they produce parts for International Space Station, but they are not a gigantic player. They are not a top player
Yeah,
on this area.
I
Uh,
see.
Most of the scientific areas and the advanced scientific advance, the player are China, South Korea,
Mm-hmm.
and United States.
Mm-hmm. Um, so I would also like to know your story. How you went from a person who wanted to go into the aerospace sector, but had to certainly come to the United States for studying aerospace and astronautical engineering and whatever degrees that you've generated throughout your career and whatever impact you've had. I would love to know your story on that.
Well, I applied 7 years ago. I applied for a program, Mars One program, to go to Mars to establish a colony on Mars, and I was one of the finalists of this contest. I didn't join the group,
Mm-hmm.
but that awakened something inside me and say, "Hey, you love space, you love rockets, airplanes," and I say, "Hey, I need to search what make me happy."
Mm-hmm.
And I came to the United States to study because before that I was in Brazil and Chile working, and I was paying my bills. I was working but not pursuing my dreams. And this thing awake inside me and say, no, I need to forget about everything around me, and I need to put focus in what I love and what I want. And I applied for IIAS, International Institute for Astronautical Science. Back in the day, it was Possum Project. Né? We have this branch, sorry, and this area, Possum Project, uh, but Project Possum, sorry, and but now it's IIAS, and I applied 2 times, and the second time I was accepted, and I
Mm-hmm.
start to train with them. It's a very complex program. We have uh, we have all the infrastructure, to teach, to educate, and to training astronauts to go to space. So we are we are education, and after COVID, we start to put a focus to training, real training, research space flights to research space flights.
Mm-hmm.
So we start to training people to go to suborbital flights, and do research. And then now we have Kelly Girard. She's going Virgin Galactic. We had Sion Proctor, Dr. Sion Proctor. She graduated with me. She was my class at IIAS. And guys, Inspiration 4. She was the first black female pilot to go to space.
Yeah, yeah.
She, yeah, the first civilian crew to go to space.
Mm-hmm.
Totally planned
Mm-hmm.
by civilians,
Mm-hmm.
and it was amazing and a very successful mission.
Mm-hmm.
Katia, oh, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
Tareta,
Mm-hmm.
she is the first woman, Mexican woman,
Mm-hmm.
to go to space, and she
Mm-hmm.
graduated with me too.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, sorry, she is the first African to go to space too.
Oh.
And all of these people, they graduate and they study with me at IIAS. So
Mm-hmm.
it's an open field. It's amazing, all the structure and all the training. And then it's exactly like NASA, European Space Ages, Canadian Space Ages. There are some instructions, some training we have inside the facilities of Canadian Space Ages.
Uh-huh. Um, what was your experience like when you was like studying with Madam Proctor? Like, what was she like? Was she like a very curious and studious student? Was she something else? What did you feel like? What was your experience at IIAS with all these, people from very different backgrounds, and now they got very successful in this astronautical sector?
When you go to IIS, the feeling when you're getting inside the first classroom, for example, when people receive you, people warm with you, is like
Mm-hmm.
that sensation of family.
Mm-hmm.
It's a distant family, with different backgrounds, different problems, and all of them there, with the same goal. So it's something very, very interesting to feel because you don't feel uncomfortable inside IIS. You feel like you are part of something bigger than you. You feel like you can contribute, even
Mm-hmm.
if it's a small thing, even if it's something is very simple. We add that. We had that in our Bio 106 underwater training, the AVA 106, sorry, Bio 103, the microgravity research flights. So we apply that. Simple things, make extraordinary things too.
Mm-hmm.
We can have people with arts, and they can contribute to our program.
Mm-hmm. Um, so I'll be moving on to the next question that I have on the script. Like as I said, I am not going on with the script. I just keep on asking questions as they pop up into my mind. So, uh, how can we like use suborbital flights to better understand the effects of microgravity on human health, and like what implications do you think does this research have for long-term space travel?
Well, that's a good question. It's a great question because that's what we are trying to find out. How suborbital flights can fit, to better understand our world, to better understand the atmosphere, our atmosphere, and how they can contribute with that. How can we use experiments to do that? So I'm gonna answer with in two steps. First, we need to know what's the transport taking us, because you have spaceship two, for example. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's a space plane and glide, but there is no such a room. It's a they have a room inside, but they don't reach the carbon line, so you don't have much time. Then you have more time in a microgravity flight,
Mm-hmm.
in a vomit comet, than inside the spaceship too. Or you can go by blue orange, but you don't have room to do experiments. They don't allow to do experiments.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's
so
purely
it's
tourism.
Yeah, and the second step, it's rules. So we need to determine the new rules. FAA, everything is so brand new, so new. They are start to write the rules about that. So
Mm-hmm.
if something goes wrong, like the first flight from Richard Branson, they let a little bit the pathway. They enter a different zone, and that make an alert and say, "Hey, guys, this is dangerous," because this area is commercial airlines, and that's the reason they were grounded uh, for months. So it's rules, FAA government. To develop space programs, we need to relax more rules. But in the opposite side, it's complicated because we are talking about national security too. So you can imagine if someone can just build a rocket and launch the rocket. At the same
Mm-hmm.
time, it's a rocket. They can build a missile too, a missile too, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
put
I see.
a yeah, and they can put a nuke and hit any target inside the country. So it's complicated. We need to get the balance of all of this,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the reason it's step by step the things happen in the space on the space programs around the world because all of them aim national security first.
So I would say if you're talking about this on the suborbital and beyond just common line level of space flights, right? You just go up, you come down, or you could just revolve around the Earth and just take a place on Earth back again. Um, Talking about now that humanity has started taking serious decisions towards getting itself to other planets and becoming interplanetary, multiplanetary species. Um, so how is the effect of microgravity in that case gonna be applied uh, over there?
Microgravity by itself it's dangerous
Mm,
because all your body they change it very fast. They adapt very fast.
mm,
The mutations are very often there are mutations in your body when you go and stay for long times, long staying on space
mhm,
in space.
mhm, mhm,
So it's complicated to talk about a specific microgravity because you have other issues to solve to go to Mars or
mhm, mhm,
stay on the moon. First is radiation. We don't have shields to go to Mars. We don't have shields
mm, mm,
to stay on the
mhm,
moon.
mhm,
We are developing shields to protect ultraviolet,
mm,
gamma rays, all cosmic rays. So and that affect a lot of things. Affect computers. So the computers stop to work with radiation, because they affect the hardware.
mm,
The astronauts they show dementia during the flights because radiation. They kill the neurons, the cells, so they
mhm,
start to kill the neurons.
mhm,
So a PhD leave Earth now, maybe gonna arrive on Mars, like a dumb, like a baby
yeah,
because
yeah,
he gonna lose all the neurons.
mhm,
So we have food. It's another thing. It's very complicated
mhm,
because we need to produce the food during all the travel.
mhm,
You know,
mhm,
we don't have a convenience store. We don't have supermarket between Mars and Earth.
yeah,
So we need
yeah,
to
yeah,
produce. And to
yeah,
produce, it's complicated because in
mm,
microgravity, it's
mm,
hard to grow food.
mhm, mhm,
So we have a lot of issues. But microgravity by itself it affects you a lot. Talking about medicine, space medicine affect the bones.
mm,
So you getting tall, like 4 feet, 5 feet during 7 months of
mm,
staying in
mhm,
space. Your blood, your blood pressure, because you don't need to pump blood
mm,
so fast and so hard, and you start to have issues. When you
mm,
get
mhm,
grabbed again,
mhm,
and all of this very very complicated. We need more study, more information to
mhm, mhm. I see,
to
I
go
see.
to do that.
Mhm. Um, then I would say like if the problem is not just from getting outside Earth and then in space, which is basically zero G, and but the problem might also be coming when you have to get outside of a familiar gravitational pull and then get into a planet's gravity that is not actually you're not familiar with, right? Because with Moon it could be like it's 6 times lesser than that of Earth, The last time we went to moon was 53 years ago, um, and now we have very less research in comparison to that because we have not sent any other human to moon yet. But now, yep, we have Artemis 2's crew announced, so we'll be looking up to that. Um,
Yeah,
so
they are aiming the moon
yeah.
again. And about just to talk about the information about moon. We always have the information. We have the probes, we have the
Mm-hmm.
rovers.
Mm-hmm.
There we share. The government don't share. Each government they don't share, but the
Mm-hmm.
agents they share
Mm-hmm.
between them
Right.
this information. So they
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of information. And
Mm-hmm.
the most important about Moon, this new space race, is because Moon you can control military control about Earth. So who will go first? They're gonna have the control. They're gonna have
Mm-hmm.
the space. They're gonna have the best, the top of the mountain. To see all this it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And to establish this base there, they are searching for helium-3 because it's the
Mm-hmm.
best nuclear fuel, to generate electricity on
Mm-hmm.
on the moon.
I see.
So it's who goes first and build the first nuclear plant, to produce
Mm-hmm.
electricity on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
It's 90%
Mm-hmm.
gonna dominate
Mm-hmm.
all this part of the system.
Mm-hmm. Um, as I said about now we are planning to go back to the moon. What significance is and what do you think are the major reasons why Artemis 2 is happening? Because uh, what sort of research? My question is basically what sort of research are we going to do this time when we get back to moon? I know that we're not just going to build anything right now itself. We need more research to do with yeah, human conditions on moon when they get to moon, and that can be done with Artemis 2 only. Anything beyond that can only cause any form of establishment of anything, any sort of camp or anything over there. Yep. So, what do you think about this?
Well, what I think is my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So Artemis 2, the Artemis program,
Mm-hmm.
it's a big concept, of Space United Nations, to explore the universe, to
Mm-hmm.
explore the solar system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my opinion is they are getting signatures from other countries because the moon don't belong to anyone. You can just claim for yourself, oh, the moon is mine, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So to explore moon, you need to build a team of nations, to go there.
Mm-hmm.
I see countries they don't have technology, they don't have resource signing the agreements, to explore to join the NASA Teams program. What I see is they have a juridic embasement,
Mm-hmm.
base to go and explore Moon.